I got the tractor beam out of commissioner. This is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit it!
Hi everyone. This is going to be super weird because I can't see StreamYard at all. I could just see the PowerPoint because I'm lazy and I bought a new monitor, but I haven't had a chance to set it up yet. So sorry, this is still a really low rent production. And I know we haven't done it in a long time. This is not going to be a long show. I hope it's not going to be a long show. I try to make it not a long show. There's a print that's available right now. And there's one that's releasing tomorrow. I'm not too excited about the one tomorrow. I'm excited about the one that's available right now. So I like to be incredibly vocal about it because I get a lot of messages after things sell out about like, oh man, I'm sorry I missed this. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I try to be as vocal about stuff as possible. And I'm pretty loud, so I think it works. But Matt, how have you been? It's been a minute.
Good. Yeah.
I've talked to you since Andor.
Yeah, it's been a minute since Andor was on. What a great show. Yeah, no, it's been good. Just been busy. So yeah.
Oh, Far From says no Batman prints. Well, you're going to be disappointed because I saved the best for last in this presentation.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, just sit tight. Just get some popcorn or something. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm good. Good to be here.
I know you picked up a print today, so I'll be talking about that one too. And also on the topic of Gandor, I needed a print like yesterday. So I'm keeping an eye out to see if anything does get released or if any artist is teasing something. But God, it took a while for us to get Kenobi prints, and then when we got them, I wasn't terribly impressed. So I hope they read the room with this, with Andor, and realize that it was well received and that we need art print stat. Don't know where they would go, but there's a few scenes from the series that I would love to see interpreted in an art print. So without further ado, I forget what the first one is, so we'll figure that out together. I included this one because I do like Lyndon Willoughby. Willoughby. I do have I don't know if I have two prints. Oh, I think I do have two prints by him. A V for Vendetta and the Darth Maul that a lot of people liked with the Japanese writing. I got the variant version that was like black and white. And it's not his first James Bond print. I liked his first one a lot. This is recent, so it's sold out, but it was available yesterday. 18 by 24, so decent size. I think the last one he did that was James Bond, I think it was Goldmember. I think it was 12 by 36.
CC, are we supposed to be seeing that, by the way?
The screen?
Yeah, because it's not added. Do you want me to add?
Can you add it? I thought it was added. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. There you go. This is what we're looking at. This is cool.
Welcome back, people. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I like that.
So the other one, like I said, was 12 by 36, and that was just a deal breaker for me. Even though it had metallic ink and everything, it looked gorgeous. Maybe I'll reconsider. I think I do have space for the other one he did. But there's some James Bond prints on Sideshow that have been available for a while, and I do like them. God, I think they're high for some reason. I don't know why they're as expensive as they are.
Are they making different color versions of this or just this?
No, it's just
like,
this.
Are they doing okay? So not doing orange or red or whatever, blue.
Which I kind of respect, honestly.
Yeah, like that would be something you'd think they would do, but
yeah, very true. Hey Danny, hey Robin, what's up? Thanks for joining. I know it was like short notice on this one too. So next up, this is gonna be bottleneck heavy, by the way. Per usual, honestly, it's not terribly surprising. So this was actually a lot more popular than I thought it was gonna be.
It's cool though.
It's also, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I'd bet money on it because I need money for art prints. It's his first Batman print. So this was the variant. Is it the variant or this is the regular? I think this is the regular, and I screwed up the caption. And then I think that's right, because they also did this as a lenticular.
Yeah.
Which I think it worked in this context, but I think it's kind of gimmicky. It's funny, the lenticulars they have done that I think they've nailed as far as the concept goes have been Star Wars. Like the trench run one that we featured in the last episode, I want to say. And then the troopers in the hallway, I think that was
I've never liked any of the lenticulars. Just such a feel it's so gimmicky, and it's like the
Reminds me
glow
like
in the dark.
80s baseball.
Not a fan of the dark glow in the dark stuff either.
It reminds me of the binders you got at school that had that effect, and like you'd scratch them like a record. Yeah. I'd love to see one in person, if I'm honest. I've seen video of it where you can't really tell it has a texture, but I'd love to see it up close and just see what it looks like.
Well, the question is, do you want your posters moving when you walk past them? Like, really? Like, you got to have your posters move now? Like, I get it. It's just, come on. It's just kind of, I'm not a big fan.
I'm honestly surprised it's not used more for, like, I can't even think of a movie that it would greatly benefit from as far as concept goes. Like, maybe Interstellar.
Stuff that has a lot of movement, like blasters, lasers coming out of the
action.
Like, it makes sense. It's just even that, it's like, I just want to see the print. If I'm gonna buy an art piece, like, why do we need the damn thing to move around?
Or I'm thinking like something trippy, like Interstellar, where it kind of had that, like, was his daughter seeing visions of him and like how he looked in those visions, if that makes sense. Like something that made sense to the story of the whatever IP the art is based on. But yeah, I was surprised at how popular these were, especially because we've had a few Batman the Animated Series prints go up recently. One I'm going to show soon by Flory, I actually liked a lot better, and I was tempted by it. I just wish it was, I think it was bigger. I think it was 24 by 36. If I'm wrong and I go to that slide and it says 18 by 24, then I might have regrets about not buying it, but I'm pretty sure it was 24 by 36, and I just can't mess with that too much. The next one up is so this was the sepia toned variant, like the black and white. So the first one was limited to 100. This one's limited to 30. And these went up last.
I like the color one a lot more.
Well, same with the Flory. Both of his were colorful, but the one that had the most color I liked. But I also have a Batman Animated Series print that's like the same kind of colorful. So it's hard out there for an art print collector. Next up is, so this is not the first like Batman series that Richard Davies has done. So the last one he did was the Batmobiles. So it was this very similar as far as like a lot of blue, rain, the kind of like speeding down the road, but it was the Batmobiles, whereas these ones are the bikes. So this one was the Batman version, 18 by 24, limited to 75, and they didn't do a variant, so they just did this. And the next one up is The Dark Knight Rises. Cool. I think I mean, of them, I think this one was probably my favorite because there's so much less stuff going on in the background.
Yeah,
the first one just doesn't, to me, fit into the universe of the Batman, given how dark and gloomy it was.
The first one looks like he's got a stick up his ass and he's just writing like straight up. It's like a weird.
He is kind of like too upright. Yeah, he looks a little too chill. Like he's just catching the wind in his hair, whereas she's like on a mission, perhaps. That is a good point.
Yeah, it's cool though. That one, I like this one a lot.
Yeah. Last one was this one, which I mean, comparable.
That's cool.
I think too. Like this one very much looks like the Chicago street design of the movie versus the Batman, which I think looks a little too clean New York City.
Well, why would you even get? I'm not even sure why you'd get the Batman version of this. Like, why wouldn't you just get this one in the Catwoman or whatever her name is.
Well, so I have seen, I forget if he's mostly a print collector or if I've seen him in like the Jazz Inc. groups, but there is an artist, a guy who has, like on either side of his TV, he's got one, I think Craig Drake, where it's the 89 Batmobile, and then on the other side he has, which one is it? Maybe the Tumbler, and below that, below each print, he has the 1/6 scale Batmobile to go with it, and it looked fantastic. And I could see the other Batmobile ones that Richard Davies did with Bottleneck a few months ago be used for that purpose. Right. But these ones, like maybe if you want to accompany with like a hot toy, it would make sense. Or like me, I am considering getting the Robert Pattinson premium format where he is on the bike. And so therefore I've considered, but I don't like this print enough to put it behind a respective statue that might go up there. Even if he is on the bike and he's on the bike in the statue. I like that the colors are cohesive amongst each other so that if you put them together, they're always going to look good. But if it doesn't fit in with the universe, like the Batman aesthetic, that was enough to turn me off for that one. And this one was limited to 75, which I think the other ones were too. Yes. Yeah. See, this just looks too clean to me, especially with the moon in the back. Yeah,
Hugh says to pair it with the Queen 1/6 Catwoman on Batpod.
Yeah, see, I could see that working. So I think the Dark Knight ones were basically the winners in this set.
Yeah, he's thinking of getting this one. Yeah, the colors are great. The colors are really cool. The motion in the the piece of art is beautiful. Like it looks great. I just don't the Batman one. I just don't really get. I don't understand why.
It feels like the odd one out of the three.
If they had made 4 of these and the Batman one was that red, that they used for the whole thing.
Oh right.
Like if it's that red, and then they had another one with Catwoman, and you know what I mean, or something like that, then that would make sense.
Or if they just incorporated more red into this one. Because God knows, like, these have at least a little more.
They make sense.
To it.
They make a little more sense, yeah.
Next up.
It's cool, though. This is really cool.
I included this, and I'm kind of actually a little annoyed about it. So the one I have is the regular. And Hugh, those Batman ones are sold out. The Batmobile ones. But I imagine they might be kind of easy to find. My TV was just buffering, so I hope I didn't just freeze.
No, you're good.
So,
Jason, this looks like something you'd want.
Did you get this?
I did get this. Yeah.
This is great.
Did you get this version or?
I think so. I got the email, and when I got the email, whatever the first one was, I got. But I also have the. If anybody's familiar with James Jean, and I actually picked up another print of his today, but I have the James Jean version of the Blade Runner 2049, which is similar. It basically shows, I think that's Ryan Gosling's character, small, and then the holographic girl, pretty large. And what it is, it's like a reverse embossing, where it's lifted, and it's all the character herself is the only part of the print that's all holofoil and reflective. Yeah. And then the rest of it's all screen printed. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, I love the Blade Runner stuff. I'm a huge fan of it. So stuff like this I jump on, especially for $40. And I think the price, I mean, not only the price, but the size on this was definitely one that made me go for it. If it was 24 by 36, I probably would have passed.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because when he first made these available, this version of art, or this art essentially, the option was 2 editions, both 24 by 36. One was in with English title and no foiling on the title. The second one, same English title, but it was a silver foil on the title. So like a metallic, basically the title, the Blade Runner 2049 was in silver. I got the regular because the foil had sold out by the time I got it. And then quite a bit later, this releases. And I was like, son of a bitch. I would have gotten this one, preferred this one. I'm pretty sure it's still available. Just right now, it would probably only be available through Vice Press because it's co-release. So Bottleneck had, because it's an edition of 1,000. For that reason only, I haven't checked Vice Press's website. I don't think this is sold out yet, but Bottleneck had an allocation where you weren't going to pay for the international shipping because Vice Press is in England. But I know that A2 is still a weird size where it might be a little bit of a struggle getting a frame for it, but the fact that it's much smaller means I might be able to find a spot for it a little easier than the 24 by 36 I have. So I might end up with both versions is the long-winded way of me explaining that. So I think that I wish there was a little more transparency with that when the first two went up, that like, hey, there's a smaller, different version on the horizon, especially because I have like the Empire Strikes Back. Both of mine are in Japanese. That Linden Willoughby that I mentioned, the Darth Maul, that's also in Japanese. So it's not like it wouldn't fit in my collection a little more easily than the hunkin' big one I got. So I might end up with two. I haven't decided yet. But it is beautiful. And then next up...
it's a great one.
I forget what's next up. Okay. So these were the two Flories that went up.
Boring. Look at
come on. I really liked this.
Come on.
Why do you have to shit on everything I love?
I'm sorry. It's just, what the hell? It's like
oh, it is 24 by 36. That's why I didn't get it. So I like that it seems a little classier than the Pablo Oliveira, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did they? I don't like the framing of it. I don't like the black around it. I don't know.
So,
just not my.
Fair,
I'm talking about something I don't care about either, which is the problem. So,
to be fair, if you recall his '89 Batman print that he did it the same framing. So if you're gonna have them side by side, that makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Like a thing he's doing.
Yeah. And actually, I saw a variant available, and I was kind of tempted, but I have at least two 24 by 36 '89 Batmans. I'm like, do I really need another one? So this was limited.
One of the things I don't like about these things, the animated ones, is it's not the fault of the people designing them. It's really just the style of the animation, right? It feels very Photoshop, like super Photoshoppy to me, but that is how the animation looks, right? Like, so it's not really their fault. It just seems, it's just so like clip art to me in a lot of ways. But that's how they did it. That's how they animated it.
Yeah. So the Pablo Oliveira, the reason why I'm not crazy about that one is, to me, even though there's more action to it, he's like literally leaping towards the viewer.
There's more colors in it.
It seems a little more two-dimensional to me than this one.
Okay. Yeah.
If I it despite the action, it seems a little flatter to me for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's because Batman's so close to the foreground. But this I thought was a little classier. If you hate this, you're really gonna hate the other one.
I probably will.
The variant, yeah. So this was limited to 200, and it was also co-released with Vice Press. I don't know if it's still available through Vice Press. So if you want to check that it's not sold out there, feel free if you want to pay the shipping.
I got someone agreeing with me. That's good.
I saw that, and I wasn't going to acknowledge it.
I actually like this better. I actually don't mind this as much.
Okay.
The silhouette thing works for me on this a little bit.
It doesn't have the framing that you hated, so there's that. Which to be fair, also these two are lithographs, not giclées. This one was a limited edition of 150. I really like this.
Yeah,
if it was 18 by 24, I would have gotten it. But to be fair, the colors, the silhouette, to me, I think it will look amazing next to Matt Ferguson's Batman the Animated Series Batmobile print from the Batmobile series he's doing. Because damn, the colors are very similar. Almost like it's a very good tribute to the original source material. the series.
Yeah.
I love that you can kind of just barely make out the bat symbol on his chest too.
See, Dylan and I agree on this one. He actually doesn't mind this one either. Honestly, it's the I think the framing of the other one, and it just looks super simple. And I think the buildings being a little darker look less Photoshop clip arty to me with the silhouette. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's something about it. It looks better to me. I don't mind this one at all.
It's certainly moodier, and I'm always gonna love that.
Yeah, it's cool. And the white eyes are really cool.
Yeah. So I liked these a lot more than the Pablo Oliveras that people were freaking out about.
Yeah, this one's cool.
Hashtag hot take. Next up, Sophie Bland. These were released the same day. These are tempting, but they're 12 by 24.
That's kind of cool. Different.
Yeah, I do like that.
I like it. I think it's simple, but has enough detail. I think the kind of like quasi 3D element to the notes around it made it a little more interesting than if those were left out.
That's cool. I like the backpack she's got on, and like just makes it feel very casual almost. It's kind of cool.
So this was the regular edition of 200. This was also a co-release with Vice Press, and so therefore I'm pretty sure they did absolutely sell out on Bottleneck. I think last time I was on Vice Press's website, these were still on there. So if you do want these, I'm pretty sure they're still available. So this one was $30, limited to 200, and then this was the variant. Shocking. It's just black and white. Same size. So this was limited to 150, and it was $35. And I think both of them are still available with Vice Press.
Okay.
So there's that. But yeah, I think I love the light on her face too.
Yeah.
My eye just goes to her all the time.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then next up, I forget what's next up, of course. Okay.
Oh, thank God.
Sigh of relief. I was going to include some Star Wars shit in here. I kind of regret not getting this. So
these were a while ago. We're a little bit ago, right?
Yeah. So like a little over a month ago. These were released on the 9th of November. Again, 12 by 24. This was limited to 150, the Phantom Menace. So I'm really tempted to try to find the variant version of this, which I'll show in a second. Because, and also, I just don't know where it's going to go. I think I can make it work, or just like screw it, get it, and then just try to figure it out later. Because I was like, well, I already have a 12 by 24 that's black and white that I really love, and that's the Kevin Wilson Luke, where he's on Tatooine with the twin sons. Matt, I think you got the color version of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember.
So this I really liked. Something about the colors I really liked. It has kind of like a vintage 70s quality to me. I don't know. Just because of the tan and light blue. So all of the three that he did, the Phantom Menace one, which is a shame, it's not my favorite movie, was my favorite art print. So this was the Phantom Menace. This was the Attack of the Clones. Not bad. If you're getting Hot Toy, put this with Hot Toy. Limited to 150. And then this is very simple, but I think it works. I don't know what other scene he would have done. But of course it's, yeah. They look good together too, if you see them side by side. And then last but not least, Revenge of the Sith.
I was a little busy, but it's good. Still good.
I do almost wish Anakin was closer to us. If that makes sense. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Or if Obi-Wan was farther to give it like maybe a little more drama. So again, limited to 150. This was regular. Also, note that when I show the variant, a lot of people, by a lot, I think a few people agreed with me that the variant edition of this, I don't think worked at all. It was very disappointing. But we'll see it. So this was the variant. So it is a screen print with metallic ink. I don't know what would have been metallic other than the title, and I don't know if they said where the metallic ink was utilized. But this was slightly more limited at 85. And this is the one that I'm like, shoot, I probably should have gotten. But who knows? The night is young. Maybe I will still find it somewhere. Attack of the Clones, again, it's a screen print with metallic ink. I would be really excited to see if it's just the title, because I imagine it looks really good. I've yet to see an art print with metallic ink where it's used too much. They tend to use it pretty sparingly, and I think it's always nice to have something a little different. And that texture you tend to only notice close up with some art prints, and I'm totally fine with that. And then next up is the one that I think didn't translate very well. It's the yellow lightsabers for me.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem.
Yeah, it looks like shit.
I get it that they it's just they couldn't have used the yellow elsewhere.
It's just bad. Like this is why I have issues with the variants in some of these prints. It's so lazy. Like I get that they need to think of something else to make like some other version that's exclusive, that's harder to get, or whatever bullshit they come up with. But like, are you kidding me? Like they even making the lightsabers yellow? Like, what are you doing? Like, why?
It's gonna turn off Star Wars fans.
Why not just keep the lightsabers what they were color wise, but then do your bullshit like sepia tone or whatever. It's so dumb.
It's not
like
it's yellow. I don't know.
It's just every single time it's the same damn thing. They just suck color out of it, or they change it to black and white, or they change it to sepia tone. It's so lazy. It's like, how about you do something different?
Some of the variants are pretty. They're pretty lazy. They're doing it just for the sake of doing it.
Some of them work. Some of them actually can possibly look better than the original, but that's hardly.
Though, to be fair, I mean, I agree with you in this instance, absolutely. But I'm not going to lie, I do have a ton of variants that either like black and white with pops of color or just straight black and white. And it helps me have a more cohesive collection.
Some of them work. Some of them work. And that's why I'm not saying all of them, but it just feels super lazy to me with it. Honestly, it's when they do it over and over and over and over and over again. It's just like, come on, guys.
And this is not, so I can't for the life of me remember, Jason, I don't know if you do. So this was him basically like completing the saga. So I think the first set he did was the original trilogy. And I actually kind of liked the Return of the Jedi version he did, where it was the standoff in the Emperor's throne room. Same size too, that 12 by 24. I don't remember seeing this kind of variant with the originals, but it could be because that was a few years ago and my memory's not good. But I think he probably did it with the sequel trilogy, which I wasn't a fan of, but also sequel trilogy, so need I say more? But yeah, I don't remember if maybe because the original trilogy, that set was done years ago, that was even an option. So
I don't think it was
progress.
I think you're right. I don't think it was.
And I mean, if you're a collector and you're going for the variant editions, you'd probably be a little annoyed that you can't complete the set. But also, then when there's this, like, nah, dog, I'm just gonna stick with the regulars, I feel. But yeah, the Phantom Menace, this one, I'm trying to see if I can make it work. There's something about it I love so much. I think it also feels very nostalgic to me, and I don't feel that way a lot about Phantom Menace to me. And then what do I have next? Let me see. So this is the one, I don't get a chance to do this on the show very often. This is one that's going to be available tomorrow, so Thursday, the 15th of December at noon Eastern Standard Time. It's Gabs. I'm not going to lie. I was very disappointed this wasn't a portrait. So he had teased that he was doing a Batman print, and I was assuming it was his portrait style, the 13 by 19 portraits that we've seen, and then it was this, and I was like,
it's still pretty cool though. Cece, you don't like it?
It is, and it is. Don't get me wrong, it's gorgeous. But
Pretty
would
cool.
I prefer a portrait? Absolutely. Do I hope that he does one in the future because he's clearly already done a Batman print? Yeah, absolutely. And also, I should have grabbed them. He posted some detail shots of like kind of what's going on within this, which I should have grabbed because it's kind of hard to see when you're staring at a screen. But this is the regular. It's a limited edition of 200. It's 24 by 36, and like I said, it'll be available tomorrow through Bottleneck Gallery. That being said, he did do a private sale, so it's not like all 200 will be available tomorrow. So if you do want this, get at it, because I don't know how popular this was today. So this is the regular, and I do think it's different. I will give him that. Of all of the, I think last I counted, I have 7 the Batman prints, and I think this is probably the most unique I've seen, to be fair.
Pretty cool.
The silhouette's pretty striking. This was the variant.
Yeah, it's the one I picked up today. I didn't realize that tomorrow was the drop. I just got an email and it said like Bottle Bucks pre-sale.
Oh, did they do that?
Yeah, I'll share. Let me see what it said. I was actually scrolling my email for something unrelated, and it just said Bottle Bucks pre-sale Batman by Gabs, and I just went in and I paid like nothing for it because I used most of my Bottle Bucks as well. I think I got it for like $11. The variant was 60, edition of 100.
Okay, so they did 2 private sales today.
Yeah, so I don't think there's going to be much left if it's an additional only 100.
Right.
And 200, I can imagine, because this is a pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if I would have got it because of the size if I was paying full price, but the fact that I got it for like $11, I was like, why not? You know?
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, as much as I complain about the size, this would be an incredible disservice to do an 18 by 24 with as much detail as it has.
To get the detail, yeah.
Yeah. So this one's limited to 100. It's $60, and again, the public sale is tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time on Bottleneck Gallery. Also, Gabs is pretty good about posting his artist proofs a few months after they sell out. So if you do miss out, or if you're interested in something like, I think actually this would be a really good format for a remark. Don't ask me how much his remarks are because I've never bothered to ask. But I know he has done remarks on some of his APs, and he would probably be willing to do that. And with this having so much white around the border, the margins, I think this would be pretty doable. Yep, okay. So they did a Bottle Bucks members, which they've done before, but I'm just surprised they did it with a Gabs. The other thing they'll do is if you've bought from the artist before, like one of their works, you might get a link ahead of time as like a, hey, you clearly, or if you bought one that was later included as a series, like say me getting they didn't do this, but as an example, like I ordered the Batman animated series Batmobile print by Matt Ferguson. Like maybe they'd send me a link for when he does another Batmobile in the series, like the Batman one he did after that. They didn't do that, but just giving you an example. They did that also when I got a set from Andy Fairhurst years ago, and then he did another set, an original trilogy set, and they were like, hey, if you like that, you might like this. I thought it was kind of cool. The one I showed on the last show I did, that Jason, the one that you're thinking about, by Matt Ferguson with the balloons. So people who bought the first one he did, the version that was 12 by 24, like skinnier, the 89 Batman print, who again 9 years ago, they emailed those customers with pre-order links for the new one if they wanted to get it. I was like, damn, like a 9-year span. That's kind of cool to say that you were able to get both of them and complete the set.
It's a sick piece of art. It's cool.
Yeah. Next up, what we're all here for. At least I can say that about me. So right now, these are available on Mondo's website. It's not on the drop if you go on the website, which kind of freaked me out. I thought maybe I got the dates wrong or something. You might just have to look at shop and then posters and then scroll through. I don't know why it's not more obvious on their website. At least when I was looking tonight, and I freaked out thinking maybe I got the dates wrong, like I said. So Jason Edmonston has done this Eyes Without a Face series for years. I know that he's done one-off originals that were Star Wars, but I think with them probably being unlicensed, they weren't printed. I think he did a Boba Fett, and I can't remember. Oh, he did. Jason, do you remember because they were definitely originals.
Yeah, he's did a large series of these, kind of like the Mike Mitchell profile.
But not a lot of Star Wars ones.
I don't think he's done a ton of Star Wars, no.
Yeah.
But he's done a couple. I know there's definitely more than these two. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head.
Okay. But I think if he did those more than the Boba Fett one I'm thinking of, they were not prints. He did them as original works of art because he tends to do that. He'll have some prints available. He'll have the original. He'll have a sketch, and he'll put all of those up as being available for order. So I think the ones that he did that were Star Wars were one-off originals, and therefore it wasn't like a situation where they were licensed. Therefore, they weren't printed. But he has, if you are a pop culture fan, check out his shit. He will have something for you. And I think because he is so prolific, there are a ton that are available on his website right now that might strike your fancy. So if you want to check him out, he has his own shop website thing. What's it called? Big Cart? I forget the Big Cartel website.
Yeah.
But what's exciting is these are his first kind of like official Star Wars prints, and he's calling them the first and the second in a series. And given how prolific he is, I'm excited for the future and what characters he can do in this format. So these are giclées on archival paper. This one's called Fallen Apprentice. It's pretty obvious it's from Kenobi. The size, these are 9x5.
That's cool.
Yep. I was going to do some research into frames because I do know that a lot of people who collect his items, there are ready-made frames on Amazon that people recommend. I don't recall what the names are or what they're for specifically. I want to say off the top of my head that the frames are meant for something else, like almost like they're meant for small, almost like wallet-sized photos, like the ones that you'd get for like school yearbook pictures or something, and you just take the mat out and these happen to fit perfectly. So it's not like you always have to go the custom route with these. Doubly exciting. These are timed. So like I said, you can go on the website right now and order them. Hence, I'm being incredibly vocal about them. I would have been really pissed if they didn't do these timed because I probably would have missed out.
They've been hard to get.
Mondo, it's such a crapshoot. Like, so I think they knew that these were going to be popular, and I hope they continue with this. Maybe if it's like a more obscure character, I wouldn't be upset about those being limited if it's like Weequay or something. So Far from Death Star's asking, put two together side by side in frame or top and bottom framed. That's a good question. I think I'm pretty sure I've seen both where people have.
They look in the same frame, like top and bottom, like matted. You know.
Yeah, if you get the float frames, like where it's just the two pieces of glass with the wood around it, they look good. Because I have the Surrounded by Assholes one, and all his Eyes Without a Face are not usually 9x5, but the Spaceballs that he did, I think it was I made the full release like just as as novelty, as fun. But it's just Surrounded by Assholes, the Stark helmet. That one was like I think 9 or 10x20 or 9x19. But I used the double glass paints and float them because they're small and easy enough to just put, and then whatever the color of the back of your wall is, they stand out pretty good. And Matt, like you said, if you put them both in the same frame, especially like Obi-Wan and Vader, or if it's like
Yeah.
Luke,
Yeah.
Leia, they look good. Batman and Joker,
Yeah, especially if you mat them. I was thinking of putting them side by side, but now I'm questioning if I should put them more vertically aligned. And I will say, so like Jason said, and thanks for bringing that up because I almost forgot. So most of these are 9x5, which also means that it's very easy to collect a lot of these from a lot of different properties that you like. That's another reason why I like Ashton Gallagher, who does the mini, like, I think he tends to do like 5x5 or 6x6. It means that, and they're pretty detailed. You can collect a lot of them and have like a mini gallery wall very easily for not a lot of money, and still get a little bit of representation if there's like a character you really appreciate that you want to show, but you don't want to have like a 24x36 poster of everyone. And also he did Sue from the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, and it was like damn near life-sized. So I saw someone recently who had it and had a few of them actually on either side of their TV, and then that one was above their TV, and it was as wide as their TV. So I thought that was kind of cool. Because to give you an idea, this is the one I have, and they are kind of life-sized.
Yeah. What I was gonna say too, what's interesting about these is, and I'm only using this as a reference, but they're kind of like Funko Pops, where he's been doing these for so many years. I mean, if you're a horror fan, a cartoon fan, like, I mean, he's done Jaws, he's done Blade Runner, he's done, Batman, Superman, Terminator, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like DC, Marvel, like if you can think of it, like he's done it. And so any license that you have a particular liking to, these are definitely a great piece to accommodate any type of collectibles you have on your shelf, especially where, like CC mentioned, they're easily, easy to frame, not too expensive, pretty much easy to get, and affordable too, especially for the size.
Well, and that's, so maybe you guys can help me out with that too, is I have that one, the Riddler, because I like to put it in the display with the Pattinson Cal I have behind me. My beef with this now is I contemplated getting 2 sets of these prints. I'll show the other one. We haven't even done that yet. One for home, one for the office. And then I was like, that's bougie and ridiculous. Just get one of each. But then I remembered I'm getting the Darth Vader bust. And I'm like, oh no. Does that mean I need these to try to figure out how to display them with the damaged Vader bust? So at least I have time to decide, because like I said, they're available until Friday. And then I see Hugh's question, do I prefer timed editions or prefer if they're more exclusive, really like timed editions? So, and I think this is where Steve and I kind of differ, and I think we've talked about this, where it doesn't bother me if I have an art print that like 1,000 people own. Because some of my favorites were timed editions, because I feel like even if I have it in my collection, it's not going to look like everyone's in their collection, because everyone's collection looks different. I'm pretty confident that mine looks different because it's surrounded by everything I love. So therefore, I'm always going to prefer it to someone else's. Like, sorry, not sorry. I said what I said. But I like that these are timed, because it means that people are not going to be stressed about it. And you can get it at your leisure. Also, we've had situations where it's timed, like I'm pointing this way because it's behind me. The Daniel Danger Shadow Box. That was timed. Norm on Tested did a video on it, and I was like, I wonder how many they're going to sell, because they're also, I think, $300, which is a lot. I've never spent that much on a single art print. But it was a shadow box with museum glass. It was very unique. I was like, yes, absolutely have to do it. I think they sold 400, which is a lot, but it's still enough that, like, do you honestly think you're going to see that in a lot of people's collections? And also, like, how I'm not so protective of, like, now I do have some prints that are small edition sizes. I think the one I have that's the most limited is probably like 25 to 30. Is it cool to say that there's only maybe like 30 of them out there? Sure. But also I understand that there's things like artist proofs.
Yeah.
So if I have one of 30, there could have been 10 artist proofs. So really there's maybe 40, and there could have been printer proofs. So I know that that's not a perfect system. I tend to not think about it too much. Now, edition size will affect when I purchase it. If it, like, say for instance, I see it on the secondary market and I'm like, oh gosh, they didn't make many of these. It doesn't come up very often for sale. So therefore I'm more inclined to jump on it. Same with most prints that I know are going to sell out in a few minutes. If it's a situation where they're doing 1,000 of them, like some of the ones on like the Blade Runner 2049 that I showed on Matt Ferguson's website, I'm not in a rush to order that because I know they're doing 1,000 of them.
Sure.
And it's probably going to be a while before they sell out. But no, I think that it's better for especially these, which I hope will be incredibly popular, to be timed, because I have a lot of people who I think are just seeing his work for the first time, which surprised the hell out of me. And also I think because of the size of these, I hope it means that there's people who are going to be buying this art print who normally don't collect art prints.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always going to be a proponent of that. Yeah, that Daniel Danger one is gorgeous. And I had a lot of people reach out to me saying that they were incredibly happy that they bought that shadow box. I don't know many people who bought the print, but I did see one available. But I honestly think that the shadow box was probably more popular than the print, just because of how unique it was.
I just think in terms of the timed edition versus whatever else, I mean, who's got no one at this point, especially Mondo stuff is so it's so sought after, and it's so like I guess a lot more well known than Bottleneck, I would say, maybe. And so you cannot get something. You just can't get something that you want there. Like, it's almost impossible. Bottleneck is still possible to get stuff, but you still have to be on it. And
yeah,
unless you have the time to sit at your computer and just go like, I'm going to buy it right when it comes out, you're screwed. So the timed edition stuff is fantastic. I mean, who gives a shit if if other people have it, you know?
Right. Because
yeah, this was gonna say. So my thing. See, I'm not for it, but I guess it depends on the print, right? Like the shadow box, for example. I thought that was a great opportunity. Or like you said, certain prints where you know there's going to be a large request for it, but then there's other elements to prints where, like, if it's a fine art piece and you're talking like $1,000 print, I don't think there should be. And there are some artists, you know, it may seem like, oh well, not everybody's doing that, but there are some artists where prints are $500 or $1,000, and they'll do like a 24-hour release, you know, from like 12 to 12. That bothers me a little bit, because when you're putting so much more into the materials and the resources to produce such a good piece, I think some of those things are like, it needs to be that. But these other ones where they're small runs, you know, the licenses for like,
I'm having trouble hearing you, Jason.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, now I can. Sorry, it sounded like you moved from the mic.
Yeah, so like if you have licenses like Batman or Star Wars or whatever it may be, for example, Marvel, and you know you're gonna have a large audience, then I'm okay with it. I'm not a stickler for it, but I do think whether it's the timed editions or even like some of the variants, it does tend to get a little, it's like a little overwhelming, just because, and like you said, CC, it also plays into the psychology of, you know, are you going to order? How fast are you going to order? How motivated are you really? And I think sometimes it's a good thing because it gives you time to think, versus like buying impulsively and then sort of regretting it after the fact. I mean, it definitely has its pros and cons, but I think it should be relegated to specific types of prints.
Mike's doing the thing again. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think it should be relegated to specific type of prints or, you know, designs versus just like across the board.
Right. Yeah, I don't think every print should be timed, but like the Chris Valentine Rogue One, I think there would have been riots in the street if that wasn't timed. It was so popular. I don't think that I don't know if it was close to 1,000 that they ended up selling, or if it was close to 600. I'm not good with the numbers, honestly. But I had a lot of people who were very impressed with that art, very impressed when they got it in. And we do have some Rogue One art, but considering all of the saga, there's like a fraction of what's available. So yeah, I think of course it depends on the art. And Mondo, I don't want to go on a rant about Mondo. I think everyone knows I have a preference for Bottleneck, and I think it's just because of an accessibility thing, where people tend to have more success ordering from Bottleneck as opposed to Mondo. And I've actually questioned recently, and I've had people ask me why I think that is. I think with Mondo, it's almost like a cultural thing where they've established that it's very exclusive and hard to get. And also, I do have to question that bias I have with Bottleneck as to whether or not it's a situation where I don't order from Mondo because I don't like what they offer, or because I know it's not possible to get. So I will say, if there's a time that there's a Mondo release and I don't show it on the show, it's probably because I didn't like it. And I've been asking myself a lot as to like, why do I have that not like factor to a lot of what Mondo does? And I have no idea if it's just the artists that they work with, or that what they put out. I have no idea.
Cece, don't you think though too? It's hard to recommend people go get a Mondo print because it's hard for everybody to get a Mondo print. Like I don't care who you are.
Like I stopped counting last time I tried counting my prints at 80. I think I can count on one hand the amount that came from Mondo originally, whether I bought them there originally or not, or if it was the secondary market.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot
in some cases they might be worth more long term because they're harder to get. They're just harder to get.
I was going to say that Mondo pieces tend to be flipped more often than Bottleneck. Right. I think there's this is with a little bias, right? And give me a little leeway. But I think people who tend to go for the Bottleneck prints more often than not tend to keep them. Or a lot of averages, you're getting more people who buy that are actually keeping. Whereas Mondo, let's say it's an edition of 200, an hour after it's sold out, you can go to eBay and 100 out of the 200 already listed for sale.
Right.
And I don't know how Mondo feels about that kind of culture versus Bottleneck will straight up cancel an order if they can figure out the customer and who they are and whether they actually ordered it through them. Because I think it becomes an ethical issue that they're trying to flip something they don't have in hand. So I think they're really saving their customers from a potential fraud situation. If someone buys that print that they know is weeks out, that the customer might not get in hand before PayPal, the window for PayPal to dispute it has closed.
That's true.
But sorry, I went on a tangent about Mondo versus Bottleneck. I just for some reason was thinking about it. Because I had some people ask me recently, like, how long I've been collecting, and the fact that, like, Bottleneck does have a lot of my money, and I'm like, why is that? I honestly think it has more to do with the fact that I like the artist that feature their prints with Bottleneck. I don't know if that's a Bottleneck decision or the artist who approached Bottleneck or vice versa. It's something that I'd like to look into. I don't think it's just me being, like, having a psychological block against Mondo, saying, like, there's not possible for me to get it, and therefore I'm not going to even try. Their last few art prints that they released with IPs that I actually do collect, I'm just haven't been crazy about. And that's been consistent for the last few years. So maybe, so obviously Funko bought Mondo. So when you buy these, if you get a charge on your card and it says Funko, don't freak out. That's legit. I wonder if that's going to change things or if stuff's going to stay the same. But that's to be determined. Right. I should shut up because so everyone knows I'm a huge Vader fan. I do love this print. I think I like the Kenobi better. It just seems a lot more emotional.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to remember, like, the titles of these things. You have to buy both of these things because it's.
Oh yeah,
right. It's the idea of the Master's lament. Like he's the one that's lamenting all the things that, the things that he didn't do or did with this guy, and the other one is Vader is the one that
I haven't lost my mind entirely to suggest you get one or the other. I think
you
it would
have
be
to get both.
a disservice to not get both.
Yeah,
because as much as I think I prefer this visually, it doesn't mean I don't like the Vader. I just think that this one certainly looks a little more, well, as it should. They're expressing two different. I see anger in the Vader, and I see sadness, for lack of a better word, in this one. So again, same price, same size, but timed. Get on it. Buy them now. I'm so happy they're doing these. Like I said, I was trying to think of like characters I'd want to see. Someone mentioned, I think on the artist's page, he should do like a Jabba the Hutt eyes, and like if you have the replica eyes from West Coke that we featured on Group Therapy, God, ages ago, that would be amazing. Can you imagine the Cantina aliens in this format?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Where
Greedo.
Greedo, oh my god, I love a Greedo. I just love Greedo in general. But that's see what I mean? Like, I think
3PO would be cool too. I mean, there's so many. Yeah, there's definitely so many you can do.
So I'm just really thrilled at the prospect of future projects. Yeah, this was like early Christmas for me, honestly.
That's awesome.
Because we talk about characters we appreciate in Star Wars, but like you can't have an art print of every single character or scene you appreciate. So I think this is perfect. So I don't have anything else after this. I made you all sit through this shit till the end just to go over this one. But I'd like to start doing more print shows, and I'm sorry that we haven't done more. That's been totally my bad. I work too much. I have life stuff get in the way. But yeah, to be fair, I also feel kind of guilty not showing art prints on a regular basis that are Star Wars. I don't want you guys Batman prints every other week or so, but if it's something like this, it's exciting. And I also would like to do better about showing these art prints as they're teased before they're actually available to the public, so that people get a better chance.
Yeah, because it's tough to do a whole show where it's like, look at these art prints. Oh, you can't get them anymore, right? Like that's a hard thing to do, but yeah, it's tough.
But to be fair, that's kind of like the way art print collecting goes.
Yeah.
We're used to having to go for the aftermarket on some of these just because they do go so fast. So that's why I don't feel terribly guilty showing ones that are long sold out. And I've debated doing more shows showing older pieces that people might not be aware of, but it's still possible to get them. Again, because some of these edition sizes are on the larger side. And people do sell these and, buy, sell, trade groups and stuff like that. And there is, so yeah, this is basically a very long-winded way of saying, I'm sorry it's gone so long between shows, and that I definitely do have a lot more that I'd love to talk about with art prints, and that I'm not going away. And that these prints are very exciting, and I hope we get more of this Eyes Without a Face series.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, people definitely, it's print collecting. I feel like in the Star Wars community, I feel like a lot of people do it, but it still feels like a niche type of thing, even in this, community. And, but it's valuable to have someone that's on top of everything, that's kind of telling people about it. I think that's a good thing. So,
well, and I think it's interesting because I think most people can at least relate to art print collecting or have at least one, either by accident or they'd have a movie poster and they've never considered going deeper than that. And then you've got people like me who drank the Kool-Aid and are swimming in paper, expensive paper, as the comic collectors say. But I didn't want this to be a long one, and we're at an hour, so sorry, guys. And as far as shows for the rest of the week, I will not be doing Uncivilized Scoundrels tomorrow. It was moved. I think a lot of people are seeing Avatar.
Oh, cool.
Which I read a review, sort of. I didn't want to read too much into it because I have no idea when I'm going to see the movie, but it had 5 stars. and this was Empire. If
Yeah,
anyone's curious,
a lot of people seem to like it. So
yeah. And then we'll have group therapy on Friday. I hope Rob's able to make it, considering he wakes up at like 3 a.m. to do it. And then I don't think, Jason, do you know if Chris has anything going on recently? You and Chris, any plans?
No, nothing that I can think of. We have a couple guests lined up for after the holidays, but they are confirmed. I'm just gonna wait to release the names and dates till after Christmas. But it'd be worth it. It'd be worth um, visiting and seeing what we got going on. But we are gonna be doing the RS Rogue One Christmas swap. I don't know the exact time, but we'll announce that probably during group therapy or at the end of group therapy. And then
Is that the Secret Santa thing or just the Christmas show?
The Secret Santa.
Okay, yeah, because I can't remember what date we settled on, but it is before Christmas. I do remember that.
I believe so. I want to say yes, but I'm sure when we get more around for group therapy, we can give them more.
Yeah, especially because I'm not going to name drop, but I have a feeling some people are still picking out gifts for their person. But if anyone's not familiar with what we're talking about, so last year, all of us with Rogue One 6 did a Secret Santa together, and then I was the odd one out because it was going to be an odd number of people. The guys did a Secret Santa with the guys at RS, so we're doing that again, but I'm included this time, and we recruited Andrea from RS, Rob's wife, and I'm excited about that because we need more 4% representation on the show. So I hope she's able to join live.
Cool.
Yep. Far from thinks that I think it's the mic. Jason's in Avatar: The Way of the Water right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why it sounds that way.
My mic was doing that earlier this week, so maybe it's just a Gremlins thing. But yeah, we'll see if always more print shows. I'm also trying to just get my shit together and get a lot of stuff framed and on the walls. So I'm not just neglecting you guys, I'm neglecting my walls. And it, like, all the beige next to me still makes me very uncomfortable. So if that tells you anything. So like I said, thank you guys. Hopefully I'll see you guys on Friday. And then with the art print news and stuff like that, feel free to join the Facebook group because I will always post them in the Facebook group, even if I'm not able to do a show about every art print that gets released. And that's Rogue One 6, just like here. Do answer the questions to get in the group. We just do that so it prevents bots and spammers and shit. So yeah, another great way you can find out information about art prints. Other than that, have a good night, guys, and we'll see you later.
See ya, guys. Appreciate it.